actually in the screen?
Yep, you're right in the bullseye middle. And it's recording. I don't like it.
Why?
Because you're not smiling or anything.
Well, I'm not ready to shoot yet. Alright, let me give you a view here of the Anderson connector. And spin around over here, show you the mounting bracket. And come up around here, and here's the cabling. I already loomed the positive cable for a portion where it's going to be running, and then come around, pan, pan, pan. There you go. There's that end, and here's the negative cable brought up already through the front radiator support and around and down. And we're going to see how this video comes out. This is shot on my wife's new Pixel 7, which has a much better camera than my old Kyocera. So back here in the corner, right here, is where the cutoff switch is going to go. Then I'm going to run a short loop over to here with the fuse, and then come over here and tie onto the positive battery cable connector, except there's a little bit of a problem. It's getting real congested over here, so I might have to actually swap out this entire end with something possibly configured a little differently. If you remember from an earlier video, the Group 31 battery, and you can see where the loop is here. Some of that may need to get rebuilt. I'm going to have to figure that out. Anyway, what'll only be a couple of seconds your time might end up being tomorrow for me. We're going to see how that goes. It's starting to get late, and the light's fading. All right, catch you soon. Hi everyone, back again. It's not actually tomorrow, it's actually 2 days later, and I'm still not finished. A lot of other projects going on, including now shooting with a new Pixel, well, not new, but new to me, I guess, Pixel 5 for the camera here, and also working on a old Hallicrafters 1940s vintage SX62 shortwave radio. Got a rebuild project going on that too, recapping and stuff, so a lot of things happening. So let me go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. The grill is still out of place, but there's been some progress. You can see the wiring is no longer just hanging out the front, draped all over the headlight, etc., etc. Come on up through here, see where that runs back through here. Follow the cabling, goes back over here, all the way along here, kind of dives underneath the intake manifold, and comes up to here with the disconnect switch, and then follows its way all the way back through here, over around the corner, and up to the fuse block, which obviously does not have a cover yet. And if you look at the one terminal, you can obviously see it's not connected to anything. So let me pan back a little bit here, show you both. So what happened here, I'm sure that this never happens to anyone else. I can guarantee it's just me, but I didn't order enough wire. The location of parts ended up moving around. Let me pan back here again. This switch is huge. I had no idea it was that big. I don't know if it gave dimensions in the actual description on Amazon. If it did, I didn't pay close enough attention. You can see it's bolted here to the side of the fuse and relay center, which turned out to be a great spot for it. And let me pan back here again. So I looked at a bunch of different locations. I tried to find something that would fit around this area. No way. Pan back over here. Nothing there. Let me move the grill out of the way. I looked over here, came around like this, looked at the air box, and right here actually wasn't a bad location on the front of the air box, but then I've got this wire going all the way down and all the way back again. And the shorter a wire is, anyone that knows about electricity, the less resistance it has. So if you can minimize your cable runs, especially when you're talking about amperes that measure in the hundreds, not in the 10s or 20s or 50s, that makes a difference. So I tried to get the shortest, safest routing possible. So that's where we're at right here, right now. You pan back over here again really quick, and so, right, positive battery cable, fuse holder. Start your journey, complete your journey. Try that again. Complete your journey. There you are. So, where's Waldo? Obviously, Waldo's missing somewhere in between here. He got lost. So I have to figure out that routing. And it looks like it'd be a straight shot, and you're probably scratching your head going, why would that be a big deal? But then come back over here. If I pan back over here again, you can see that this is basically full. This is a 2 gauge right here. This is a number 6, and this is number 8 here on the end. So I need space for another number 2. The problem is this socket right here is designed for a number 4. Well, when I bought this kit, it came with 2. It came with the plus battery cable and the minus, which I did not end up using. If I pan over here, right, so I had one of these left over that I could experiment with. So I took and got out my drill and some different size drill bits. Let me see if I can pan around the end here. You know what, I'm just going to make that an adjunct to the video. So yeah, everybody hold on to their socks. I'm going to come back to that one. But anyway, what I basically did was drilled through the end of this after removing the set screw and reaming that out so that it was the same size as this one, so 2 large cables could fit into it. And I'm going to see how that works out. Otherwise, I'm going to end up buying a new positive battery terminal. You know, not a big deal. They're not super expensive, but just another complication that slows things down. I thought this would be done by now, but anyway, we'll see. Okay, so on to the next part. I'm going to hop over and show you what that other battery terminal looked like quickly. Okay, so here's the other terminal, the one that I was experimenting with. This is, like I said, is the negative battery terminal. I'm going to go ahead and pan across here. You can see that there's holes here for 2 number 8s. This was supposed to be a number 4, and this was supposed to be a number 2. Well, unfortunately, I need 2 number 2s. So I had taken, let me see how well this pans down. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's pretty good. I'm hoping the focus is going to come out well. Like I said, this is my first day for using the Pixel 5 for these projects, and we'll find out if this is better than the Kyocera. This is supposed to be a 12 megapixel camera. We'll see how much better that comes out. Yeah, also supposed to have improved image stabilization. We'll see. Anyhow, to the real technical aspect here, if you look at this, it looks like this hole is still bigger, but that's actually an optical illusion because there's a step here. I run my finger right there. See, there's a step. So the actual bore size between these two is actually now the same, where it didn't used to be. And just a quick look here as I put an eyeball on everything. I believe that it's okay as far as thread engagement with these set screws. It should be enough to hold the cabling. Let me put right here to hold the cabling securely with enough meat to keep the side of this from potentially splitting or anything of that nature. So now that I use this as the guinea pig, I'm going to go ahead and take the positive cable off and do the same thing to it. And you might be wondering, why don't I use this one? Well, the bore size on the clamp actually is different between a positive and a negative battery terminal. Believe it or not, it might be a little known fact, but from my research, apparently it's true, although I haven't thrown a caliper on it, so I don't actually have one handy right now. But anyhow, I'm going to bore that one out and see if I can use that. If that doesn't turn out going in the direction that I hoped and doesn't work well, then I'm pretty much back to square one and ordering a new terminal. So we'll see. Anyway, okay, and on to my final thoughts. I'll be wrapping up this video in a moment. Okay, and here we are again, wrapping up everything. And today is actually Easter Sunday 2024, so happy Easter to everyone. He is risen and he rules from on high. So as I'd mentioned earlier in the video, there were some other pieces, small things that need to be wrapped up. So let me just give you a view of how everything came out. And yeah, those are actually purple wire ties because I ran out of red. I'll probably end up replacing those later, but anyway, I don't know what. It seemed kind of funny anyway. All right, so let me just give you a quick video view back over here. So Here's the big terminal block that we had talked about earlier. And if I fade back over here, remember I'd mentioned that I had one laying around that was actually supposed to be part of the negative block. So show that. So back over here. So I went ahead and modified this one pretty much as I had done the negative block as a prototype. So I actually managed to get all the cables after doing some line boring, some reaming on the connector sides. Let me see if I can fade over here a little bit. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit of wire exposed right there. I'm probably going to go back and put some heat shrink on that, but those are all tightened down very nicely, so there's not going to be any problem with them popping loose. And I tinned the ends of all of them. I think I showed that in another video. Tinning a battery cable, basically you're just filling the end of it with solder so that it makes a solid mass out of the individual wires, so that when you tighten down the set screws, all the wires just don't boink and just pop apart and then keep them together. So let's do a quick pan around here. These are the fuse blocks that feed the other units in the truck. And come back around here, you can see the loop's still there. Come over here and you see the wiring comes down through here. I had a leftover noodle here, some insulation, so I put that around the wire to keep it from getting rubbed by the metal bracket here that holds the power steering reservoir, just to keep everything nice and clean. Come around over here and there's the fuse box, or fuse block I should say. I got to figure out how to tie that down so that it stays in put. I mean, it's in place right now. You can see I'm pushing on it and it's not going anywhere, but it's got a gap here between the back. So like right here, if you see, it's not hard up against the battery. So I might try to see maybe if I can mount a thin panel of wood maybe back here and actually mount that to it, and then have that just attached to the battery housing, or maybe somehow with the battery hold down here to keep everything in place. But I mean, that'd really be more of a visual type of thing than anything else. You can see here there's clearance under here to the sensor, which is feeding the engine temperature gauge inside the truck. So you can see, yeah, it's a little tight in there. I don't love the routing, but it's pretty much the only place that it fit. So as I mentioned earlier, that cable kind of dives underneath the intake manifold, comes around and hooks to the switch. And so everything is now in place. And roll back really quick. And I went ahead yesterday and turned the socket on, threw a meter on it. Everything's working great. So whatever I decide to use this for in the future, I could actually even use this for a trickle charger. Probably be kind of ridiculous to have a 175 ampere Anderson connector running a 1/4 ampere trickle charge, but that would be a possibility too, without having to have the hood sitting open or anything like that, to be able to charge everything up. And then back over here real quick, over to the negative side cable, which just comes up from underneath of here and comes around, left a little bit of a loop, and comes over to the negative battery and just hooks in. Pretty simple. So that just goes back on there, and then my insulating cover sits on top of everything, and that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching this installment on Frontier Geek Channel, and until next time, take her out. It's still a big world. Take her out and get her muddy. See ya.